Samsung, one of the biggest phone companies in the world, having a 30% market share, which is more than Apple's 28% as of November 2020. And I think that has to come with no surprise. I mean, as MKBHD said in his video about the S20 FE, he made the statement where that Samsung has a dominance when it comes to each budget that you could have for a smartphone. If you don't believe me, you can either check out his video or you can go to Samsung's website and sort their phones up from low to high and take a look at it yourself. With the experience of making numerous iterations of smartphones, naturally companies can find different ways to make higher quality smartphones and include premium features at a budget price point. And I want to say that the S20 FE falls into that category, and for some points I would. But for the $700 price tag, this phone was meant for the Samsung fans out there. Now, because of Black Friday, I was able to get this phone for just shy of $300. And I feel like $300 is just right for the kind of phone that this is. Other than the placement of the cameras and the fingerprint sensor, the design is sort of an important aspect of the user's experience. The S20 FE comes in a variety of different colors. I went with navy, but you could choose mint, red, lavender, white, or orange. The back panel is made of durable plastic, but that doesn't cheap out the phone as some would think. To me, it actually gives it somewhat of a premium feeling, especially with the matte coating over it. Samsung did give the back panel a nice curve that gives the phone a nice and solid grip while in your hands. Most of these design choices came out of affordability of the device, but the plastic back panel gives the color a nice matte finish so that you don't have to worry about a fingerprint magnet like on some devices with the glass panel. Even with a fairly large battery, this device weighs just 6.7 ounces, which is fairly lightweight at this size. Being one of the first commercially available 120Hz display and supporting HDR10 makes for a great viewing experience. I can't express how much the 120Hz display was to persuade me to buy this phone. The only downside about the display that I can see is the resolution at just 1080 by 2400. With the 6.5-inch Super AMOLED screen, this phone is a good middle ground for a big display for watching movies as well as being operable in one hand. The S20 FE's display was just stunning, especially while watching YouTube content that was made in the movie-like aspect ratio, and the OLED panel shined through the amount of color that came through. The Galaxy S20 FE has a versatile 12 megapixel main camera as well as an 8 megapixel telephoto and 12 megapixel ultra wide. Even with a smaller megapixel telephoto lens, the S20 FE still overcomes the likes of the iPhone 11 with a 3x optical zoom and a huge 30x digital zoom. Taking pictures of anything in nature really shows the amount of color that the camera picks up. While testing out the camera, I took some pictures of my dog, and I prefer using the ultra wide camera even when I was somewhat close. Maybe that's just because he's a huge dog, or a long, or both. But I got into the habit of using the ultra wide for almost every single picture I took, just so that I can get the bigger picture, literally. The S20 FE's overall back camera design is how a triple camera setup should look like, having the main camera be as the star, and the telephoto and the ultra wide being the prominent support cap. They remind me of the Three Stooges. You can't have one without the other. What really shines is the 32 megapixel front facing camera, with the ultra wide option for when you're trying to stay 6 feet apart while taking a selfie. The Galaxy S20 FE packs a Snapdragon 865 processor and pairs that with a 6 GB of RAM, which is half as much as the 12 GB of RAM on the Note 10 Plus that I had previous. But don't let that turn you off from this phone. In my everyday use, I found the Galaxy S20 FE to be quite responsive, whether I would switch up between a dozen other apps or running around in Call of Duty Mobile. I did notice a hint of lag while exiting to the home screen at times, but the overall S20 FE have performed well thus far. From playing Call of Duty to consuming content, every device I daily drive, I use every bit of it. That means sometimes I use my phone to record and edit videos on the go, as I'm doing right now. And boy does it. I rendered a minute-long 4K 60 FPS video after applying a transition in Adobe Premiere Rush, and the Galaxy S20 FE took a little over 3 minutes and 6 seconds, which is a little bit longer than the Note 10 Plus did at just 2 minutes and 25 seconds. However, As you can see from this video, as well as the B-roll clips that I've inserted, this phone did a phenomenal job, especially with being at 4K 60 FPS. After transitioning from the powerhouse of the Note 10 Plus, the S20 FE brings just as much to the table. While coming with a 400 mAh battery, you can expect the S20 FE to last you almost all day. After unplugging at 11 AM, don't judge me, I'm a hard sleeper, and using the S20 FE to watch TikTok for an hour, and then start watching YouTube as I get out of bed finally, the S20 FE usually uses about 5% during that time. At about 9 PM and regularly using the phone to stream video content, it still had almost 45% battery life left. Even if you run the battery dry during the day, the 15-watt charger that comes out of the box is nice to have, but with the S20 FE supporting up to 25-watt charging, which is, from my experience, can charge the S20 FE from 0% to full in just under 3 hours. Most of the time, even after I've had the phone for almost a month now, it still shocks me every time after plugging in the S20 FE to the 25-watt charger. While $700 is a hefty price to put on this phone, I could definitely consider the S20 Ultra or maybe the Note 20 over this device. Not saying it's not capable of outperforming its competitors. It offers a big display with smooth 120Hz refresh rate, strong cameras and solid performance, and a colorful design. I could deal with the plastic back and most other trade-offs versus the regular Galaxy S20. I just wish the Samsung included a more advanced ultrasonic fingerprint sensor. Battery life was a bit longer. The Galaxy S20 FE's powerful zoom, in particular, helped Samsung stand out against the likes of the Google Pixel 5 and the iPhone 12. The Pixel 5 offers better photo quality, but its performance trails the S20 FE. And while the iPhone 12 is faster than the S20 and also delivers better looking photos, it doesn't last as long on a charge and lacks the telephoto zoom. Some may want to wait to see what Samsung has in store for the upcoming Galaxy S21, but the Galaxy S20 FE is one of the best phones for the money now.